Hello everyone, Cynthia here, and today we're going to paint what I call SUP Connection, so stand-up paddleboard connection. So we've got this paddleboard making connection with a whale below the surface of the water, and we're just looking at all our colors here. We want vibrant green and tropical blues and all kinds of sort of brilliant colors of green. We've got an underground ledge on the left-hand side, and there is black rock on top. We're going to get started with the sky. We want to have a very light blue color, and I'm just going to wet the paper down so that it will blend a little bit better. I'm going to use my beautiful sky blue color and have it a little bit darker at the top. Let it run down a little bit, just fading to almost nothing at the horizon. So I'm holding up my board here with my artwork to let the color come down. And once you have it the way you want it, then let it go back down. You can sort of play with it, let it come down to the horizon. I'm using a flat, about a 1 inch, 3/4 to 1 inch brush. And I don't want my sky to be too busy. There is a lot going on in this picture, but I do want it to look like there's a nice blue sky in the bag. So I work at this a little bit. I do pull it the other way as well, and you know, sort of soaking up any bits of water so they don't come back onto the artwork from the borders. And like I said, when you have that the way you want it, then leave it. You could put a hairdryer on it and see if you can keep it the way that you want it. Just putting a few little puffs of white there and make it look like it's a blue sky with just a few clouds going on. So that won't take long to dry. It's not a whole lot of water that we've got on there. I've turned my paper on its side now, so my artwork is basically the horizon is vertical now, and I'm filling in where the water is around the whale. I have to go back and forth because sometimes it does take a little bit for the paper to absorb the water, and you don't want the water sitting on top. You want it to be an even coat of water on your paper before you add that paint. And then I've chose a really brilliant green to start with, and as you can see, it's running down. I'm holding the paper so that it will run down from the horizon, so it's sort of holding it on its side, and I'm filling in around the whale. I don't want to have this go into the whale. I am going to paint the whale with the green colors, but I want it to be separate from the water. So just take the same brush. It's a 1 inch flat brush, straight edge, and it just allows me to have a little bit more control when I'm coming down from the horizon like that into the water. And you can see it starting to run, and this is the effect that we have that makes it look like it takes your eyes into the depths of the ocean. So just let that come down, and then when you have it the way you like it, again, just hold it for a while to let it dry. Sometimes you can put something under it to let your paper continue to flow down, to let the paint continue to flow down. Have the paper on a bit of a slant. There, I've added another little coat on top of that. And dipping into a beautiful blue color, just continuing the green into the blue. And so it's sort of like you're mixing the colors on the paper as they run together. So just give that sort of a straight across the board blue around the whale. Let it run down, mixing with the green, and just creating its own design, really. It's an intuitive sort of a process where you want to just let it form those drips as it goes. You direct it a little bit, but not too much. So I've let that dry. I've taken some time and let that dry, and the sky and the horizon should be dry by now. And I'm going to start to go to different areas of the the picture to that are dry. So I'm going into the sky here with the top of the ledge and just using a darker color. Most of the rock and shoreline of the area that I live around, there's a lot of dark rock, and I think that it's igneous. I think that it really is typical of Pacific Northwest, and it's not too difficult to pull off this type of a shoreline. You want a little bit of white to show through. You want to focus your darker shades on the underside of the rocks, the lighter spots obviously on the top. You can pull the paint away with your brush or a tissue on the tops to make it look like there's highlights if you like. And with a very fine brush, 0 to 2 or a rigger brush, just fill in the shirt of the border. I used a nice bright red. I wanted it to stand out a little bit, and then just paint a little hat on there. Just very tiny brush strokes, very very simple design. Maybe try it on a plain piece of paper first to make sure you've got the image that you want to go in there. Now the ledge on the left-hand side, I wanted it to look very vibrant. We are essentially having the viewpoint of being in the water, looking straight across the water. And so there's lots of vibrant sea life going on there. The top is a beautiful lime green. This is where the algae grows the most green. The sun gets to it, and it's vibrant. And you can put a little bit of yellow in there. I've listed the colors as we go through here, but basically yellow, lime green, and a really rich sort of lush green for the rest of it. So I'm going to let that dry, and I'm going to just mark out where the ore might be. And you just sort of have to visualize how long this might be, the straight line that it would take. Just a couple of very simple strokes, just a little bit of a paddle on either end, and the part that goes into the water can be a little bit distorted, a little bit lighter, and it just basically looks like a paddle. So back to the ledge. Now that the lime green is dry, I wanted it to sort of show through on this darker green that we're putting in. So the idea of this is to show different ledges, show different crevices where the ocean life might be living. There's crabs, there's shellfish, there's mussels, there's all kinds of things, starfish, all kinds of sea life that you want it to look like an environment. So we're just going to add layer by layer, adding a few more shadows every time we sort of go through there. Make it look like it is underwater, a little bit murky, but it's really the vibrance of the green, I think, that carries this through. And then we're just going to go in and add a little bit darker spots in there. You'll start to sort of feel that it's naturally creating these receding lines that make it look like there's little caves and little crevices where the animals might live. So I've realized that I did not put a third color in the water from my original painting. I had a darker green here. So I'm just going to mix some dark green with some water, lots of flow to it. It sort of mixes with the blue, and it just sort of acts like another depth. Your eyes just sort of follow that dark green downward, and just have fun with it. I'm going to add a little bit of detail to our border now, and the board is it's just sort of an oval shape, but I think it needs to look like there's a little bit of a shadow underneath it, and to make it look like part of it is in the water. So you want a little bit of dark beneath the water, just a line to make it look like it is part of the board, and then just another little round area underneath it to give it some shadow. And I think you'll find it really helps to anchor it. So we're going to use the same color green in the whale. I'm wetting it down there a little bit, and I'm just going to put a touch of green in there, let it blend a little bit. What I want to do is make it look like there is green reflecting on the whale. Most of the whale is gray, but there is sort of the highlights of the whale are the green color. So I do wet down the front fins as well, and just, you know, sort of use a combination of the green and the gray together. So just putting the green on first, and then I'll go through and put a little bit of gray on, and it really does blend nicely. You don't want it to be too patchy. You want it to look nice and blended. And this brush is a little bit smaller. It's about a 1/2 inch flat brush, and as you can see, the paper is slightly wet, so anything I put on there is going to make it look like there's a smooth surface there. And you know, you can sort of rough it up a little bit, make it look like there's a little bit of reflection there. Remember, we are underwater when we're looking at this, so any imperfections are perfectly fine. And just remember that as you move through intuitively to outline the whale, to paint the eye in. If you've got the eye drawn as in the template, then you shouldn't have any problem just filling that in with a smaller brush. And same with the jaw. We've got sort of jiggity lines, but they're straight up and down, this big jaw. And that's how he or she filters out the fish. She takes a huge gulp of water and filters out the fish through this type of filtration system. Basically making the connection with someone else that's out on the water. Friendly connection. So as you can see, I'm leaving the head, the mouth area until I get the body the way I want it. Basically, you're outlining it in gray and giving those reflections in the center areas the green. And so I'm taking my brush now and just making very disjointed lines down the bottom part of the jaw. And then I'm taking that rigger brush again and just outlining the eye a little bit more, bringing some marks to the jaw to accent different features. And then back to the landmass under the water. We're just putting on a few small fish-shaped strokes in the water, and we're bringing it across the landmass so that there is some continuity, so that your eye actually follows the fish as it goes from the open ocean into where the crevices are. And just have fun with this. Fill in little spots here and there. Because the paddler has a red shirt, the red crabs seem to really stand out as well, and I was told it helped balance the picture. So that's why I chose this one to help you sort of do your own. I hope you enjoy this. You can put little starfish in there. You can put just little round animals in there that sort of turn into tubes. You can have fun at the edge of the ocean with the whale and the borders. So get out those vibrant blues and greens and make a real Pacific West Coast look to it. Thanks for joining me.